my name is Katie Schuller, and I chose to do my final video presentation over the legalization of marijuana. I'm basically just going to inform you on what it is, what states it's legal in, the pros and cons, and then kind of my opinion based and what I think of the topic. And I felt like this was a very good topic to choose from because it's very controversial in today's society, especially with multiple states legalizing it and people disagreeing or agreeing on it. Yeah. So just to start off this presentation, I'm just going to talk about what marijuana is. It does include a mind-altering chemical called THC, and most people use marijuana through blunts, bowls, joints, or any other source of inhaling. It can also be extracted into oils or wax, which are usually used in pens. Dab pens is what they call them. It can actually be mixed into food as well, known as edibles. So tea, brownies, cookies, candy, anything of that sort. And so basically it passes through your lungs and then into your bloodstream if you do inhale it. And it can alter sense of time, mood changes, and it can cause hallucinations. Okay, so this slide is just basically a representation of what states weed is legalized in. So, for example, there are 10 states that have legalized the use of recreational and medical use, which include Washington, Oregon, California, Nevada, Arizona, Colorado, places like that. And then there are 22 states that have just legalized medical use, and therefore there are 32 states that have felt there are enough benefits from the use of marijuana that they feel the need to legalize it, that they feel like it's beneficial to their state. Okay, so from the pro-legalization viewpoint, basically when it comes to medical marijuana use, there are a few beneficial properties that come alongside of its ingredients. For example, the THC that is found in cannabis can decrease nausea from chemo, and it can also reduce pain effects. So researchers have also been able to extract and create a cannabidiol. Basically, it's known as CBD oil, and it helps to prevent cancer cells from spreading throughout the body. And although these are small studies that they do, researchers have seen a higher percentage of patients that choose to use marijuana during treatment to lessen their side effects. And so according to European Journal, 86% of patients that use cannabis complete their treatments, whereas only 29% that don't use cannabis, they end up not completing their treatments. So with that being said, medical marijuana has its benefits, and it still proceeds to have a negative reputation. So basically it's told and it's said to have all these benefits from chemo or from mental disorders, but because it's marijuana and it's not morally correct, it still has a very negative connotation to it, and not many people are willing to accept its benefits. So now when it comes to recreational use, it may not be as beneficial to the health, but more useful for the economy and society. So for example, researcher Emma E. McGinty, she conducted a survey of pro and anti-legalization arguments, and results for proclaimed legalizing marijuana would help reduce the power and profits of drug cartels. Also, it can decrease overcrowding in prisons by freeing nonviolent drug users, and then it also can protect the youth by replacing illegal dealers with legal ones and prohibiting them to sell to underage consumers. So basically, it makes it so, like a legal drinking age, you have to be a certain age to buy or purchase this product. And also reduce crime due to shutting down illegal cannabis markets. So legalizing can also increase the revenue of tax by $6 billion a year. So this can also help create 500,000 plus new jobs for citizens across the entire country, and even protect consumers from unsafe or tainted marijuana products. So with the help of legalization, we can benefit not only our health but our economy as well. So although these points seem beneficial, philosopher Menninger, which I will continue to talk about later, I see him as he believes that as society we actually need crime. Therefore, he would be anti-legalization because he believes crime is more beneficial and it'll make it so society doesn't commit the same crimes. And so, therefore, he would strongly disagree with recreational marijuana. When it came to the anti-legalization viewpoint, I noticed there was a lot more opinion-based information than there was factual-based. So, for example, in Emma McGinty's anti-legalization survey for recreational use, more people claimed legalizing weed would cause a conflict with the federal law, because legalizing at the state level, when it is still illegal under federal law, can cause issues with businesses, lawmakers, and even citizens. So also the industry can expand just as much as the tobacco industry, which can exploit and advertise its products to the younger audience more frequently, which can also influence the youth to want to gain and want more access to obtaining the product, which can also affect their health at a very young age. So from the medical viewpoint, according to cyber.harvard.edu, they claim the use of marijuana during treatment for medical or mental disorders can actually increase the disorder rather than decrease it. So as well as it can damage cells in the immune system and be prone to increasing infections more frequently. So it is believed that marijuana contains the same toxins as cigarettes, and it can affect brain function and mental health and even memory. So with that being said, those are the disadvantages that researchers have come to the conclusion on. So when it came to deciding what philosophers to interpret into this project, I felt I should choose Carl Menninger versus C.S. Lewis on the belief in opinions of punishment, which can tie into the crime aspect of legalizing marijuana. So according to Menninger, he believed that as a society we need and should have crime, and that miserable and torturous prisons should remain as they are. So with that being said, he claimed criminal behavior should be treated as a mental illness, and that with prisons being so harmful and abusive, it will help change the criminal into no longer executing a crime or even influence others to not complete a crime either. So Menninger also believes that society needs and wants crime and almost finds it satisfying seeing a criminal being punished for his or her actions. So I can understand where he's coming from, due to the fact that when someone commits a crime, they are more than likely hurting more people around them, even when they don't realize it. So basically, say a criminal murders a family member, not only is he hurting that family member, but he's hurting the people that person is related to. And so with that being said, those other family members related to him will want to see the criminal punished, and they will want him to suffer just as much as they're suffering. So because we can't formally act on that as a society, we look towards police and prisons to do what we wish we could do, or else we would be considered criminals as well. So when it comes to punishment, Menninger and parts of society feel it is necessary to continue to treat criminals in jail poorly and punish them for their wrongdoing, because he feels when they get punished or tortured, they will automatically change how they act and they won't want to complete a crime again because they won't want to have to go through that pain. But a lot of other people can disagree and say that it's only going to make the criminal worse and more angry and make them act out after being punished and want to create more crime. So that's when Lewis kind of ties in. Um, and he was more against the punishment of a criminal because it was merely out of revenge, is what he believed. And so, according to scholararchive.edu, Lewis believes that psychotherapy is a better way to cure or fix a criminal rather than punishment from committing the crime again. So not only does punishment put pain and torture on a person, but also takes away from their human justice rights. So the minute they become a criminal, they are immediately looked at as an object or just a case that you have to work out. So Lewis actually believes a more effective way to curing and making sure a criminal doesn't commit another crime is through psychological testing and therapy. So therefore, I feel as though Lewis would be pro-legalization because it would not only cut down on crime, but it would also cut down on the torturous punishment prisons have to go, or people have to go through in prisons. So in conclusion, based on kind of my research and what I've gathered from it, whether I'm pro or anti-legalization, I would have to say I'm pro just because I see more benefits in legalizing marijuana than I do see disadvantages. And after seeing Lewis's viewpoint and his humanitarian punishment theory, I believe he's right. And with cutting down the crime, it can be better for society as well. And even punishment in prisons, I feel like psychotherapy could be useful. Maybe not to everyone. It honestly all depends. Everyone's different. But I do see where he's coming from as well. And I feel like if we cut down on crime, prisons and punishment won't be such a big ordeal anymore as much, or we could start testing out psychotherapy punishment instead, or stuff like that. So that's basically the conclusion I came to. I hope you enjoyed this presentation. Thank you.